Welcome to another episode of Brand Lincoln, where we take a look around the Lincoln, Nebraska area and introduce you to business owners and influential people in the city. We are brought to you by Perch Merch. Perch Merch is a locally owned, custom screen printing and embroidery apparel shop that also specializes in vehicle wraps, decals, and all sorts of promotional products. If your business, school, or team is looking to expand your brand, head to perch-merch.com or call us at 402-217-5212.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Brand Lincoln. I am your host, Chris Beecham, joined by my co-host, Henry Schmidt.
What's up, Chris?
And producer, Joe Cruz.
Good afternoon, Chris.
Before we introduce our guest, we would just like everybody to like, follow, subscribe on whatever platform you're listening on. You can also find us on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. So today in the Perch Merch studio is Roger Pletcher of the Engine House Cafe, located at 6028 Havelock. Hi, Roger.
Hello, Chris.
The infamous Roger.
Really?
I'm pretty sure that when I first met you, you introduced yourself as the mayor of Havelock.
No. President of the HBA, the Havelock Business Association. It is a sought-after title. A lot of canvassing and debates.
Is the HBA a real thing?
I was like, did you make this up?
It used to be, no. But there was not an election. It was thrust upon me. It was like, oh, here's the new kid in town. Let's get him to be the president of the HBA. So it's not that an auspicious title.
So new kid in town.
That was 15 years ago.
When were you the new kid in town?
Yeah.
How did this 15 years ago today, Sergeant Pepper taught his band to play. 20 years ago would be better. Let's do this in 5 years.
Okay.
Cut.
Well, we'll do another. Okay. So listen, Roger, focus. Okay. How did we get to be the owner of the Engine House?
I have a partner.
You
own part of the Engine House?
No.
Okay.
Did I say we?
Yes.
Got it. Sorry. We almost went into business together.
We almost. Someone said, "What are you thinking going into business with Chris?"
I thought the same thing.
No, you were going to be a bar next door, and we were going to try to connect the two. So I think we said, "Why don't you just meet me in the middle?"
Is that what we decided? No. And then we just decided not to. So anyway, let's go back 20 years.
15.
15. Are you living in Havelock and a Havelock guy then?
Not yet. I'm still married, promised, now ex-wife, happily divorced. We get along great. Anyway, she said, do you think it's such a good idea for both of us to be self-employed in these trying times? When are we not in trying times? Such a lame excuse. But I put it off for an entire year. Went to Chris Kuhar, the previous owner, with tears in my eyes on Father's Day. And I said, I promised Donna that I would not buy this place for a full year. If you have to sell it, I understand. Sorry, I'm crying. And he said, no, it's nice to know that someone has a passion, a great passion for it. So he didn't put it on the market. And 1 year later, on Father's Day, I told her, I said, okay, it's been a year. I'm going to go buy that place.
What were you doing?
I was working for Applebee's. I was manager at Applebee's for 6 years, and 3 years at Cracker Barrel, 3 years I'll never get back. Tough outfit to work for, but I'd already started negotiations.
But a great gift shop.
Great gift shop. Yeah, a tough outfit to work for. You had to go to Lebanon, Tennessee. Anyway, it's a whole other story, a whole different podcast. I was starting to negotiate and with the Engine House, so I thought maybe I better go learn how to flip an egg. So it took 3 years. I'm a quick learner. And yeah, a lot of negotiating with Chris. He's what Marcy calls an examiner.
So it was Engine House was established.
Yeah,
you took it over.
So it's a turnkey.
Okay.
So here's mine. I was thinking about doing like a knockoff of the Nebraska Diamond. I've owned the Engine House more than all the other owners combined.
Radio commercial.
Engine House Cafe. We sell more eggs than all the other breakfast stores combined.
That's probably true.
Probably. We've been voted, by the way, best breakfast in Lincoln from the Journal Star People's Choice Awards for the last 10 years in a row.
Hot dog.
Boom.
So right
No,
after
we
you
don't do
finished
hot
how to
dogs.
flip
So
that
what
egg.
was it like when you took it over?
It ran well. I cased the joint. on a regular basis, because this is how I did my market research. I would go when it was busy on the weekends. I would go when it was slow on a Tuesday lunch, and I would see what was done correctly and what was done incorrectly. Chris, that's who I was trying to call you the other day when I called you by mistake. I was trying to call some other Chris, and that's why on my voicemail I'm like, I didn't even want to talk to you.
Yeah.
But when you mentioned podcast, I changed my tune.
You also told me you loved me at the end of that voicemail.
Did I? I told you to disregard that voicemail.
He meant all of it, Chris. Disregard all of it.
Yeah. Because after I left it, I was like, man, I sure sound weird in this one. So I texted you right away because I know I don't answer calls that I don't recognize either. So now you know to block me. Probably just go ahead and block me.
If I haven't blocked you by now, I think we're good.
Maybe after this podcast.
So, okay, Engine Houses ran well. So what changes did you make?
Instead of slaving away in the kitchen like he did, not paying a single attention to what was going on in the front of house. I'm a front of house guy. Applebee's, as a matter of fact, they made you go through the whole gamut, and they rushed me through my kitchen manager part and said, let's get Roger back up front, because Roger Pletcher's my name, hospitality is my mother, beep game. And they knew to have me out front. I'm the face man, kind of like this stud over here.
He's pointing at me, listeners.
What's his name?
Henry.
Good looking
Henry.
guy.
Thanks, Roger.
My brown-eyed boy. Do you remember
Yep, he's pointing at
when
Henry.
we used to
Joe,
sing?
Joe also has brown eyes.
Sha-la-la-la.
So what does...
A little background music. Go ahead.
So
Question.
I do gotta say something. We do make mugs for the Engine House
And shirts.
and shirts, and they're great. And I gotta tell you, I don't think I've ever shared this. 16, I DJ'd a wedding in California, and it was just at a family's great acreage home, but they had an Engine House mug
Yeah, you
in
told
their
me. Yeah.
cupboard. I was blown away. So the Engine House is like, I don't want to say nationally known, but it appears so. How many people come into the Engine House and tell them where they're from and share their story?
2.
2 of them, and those were the couple I DJ'd for.
There they are.
No. Everyone comes back. They're like, we're in town for a family reunion. Every time we're back in town, it's like family tradition. I've seen children that used to come to this restaurant in high chairs, and now they're married. It's the coolest thing ever. It's more than just a place to eat. That's another thing too. One time I came back, it was 4th of July or something, and we close at 1. Ever since COVID, we started closing at 1. We never went back. So if you want the best breakfast in Lincoln, you better get in by 1 p.m. And it's like 3:30 in the afternoon, and all the kitchen staff are hanging out in the kitchen. They're having some beers, and I'm just like, don't you people have homes to go to? And they're like, Roger, this is our home. I was like, oh. Yeah, it was really cool. Really cool. Our culture, it's a culture. It's where people come to meet, and you see people trying to leave the restaurant and go, oh, hey, Joe, hey, brown-eyed boy. Name again.
Henry.
Henry. I'll learn that. If you're at the restaurant, I'll probably can't remember your name, but
you know my eye
brown-eyed
color.
boy. Yeah. And I'll sing you a little song and do a little dance.
And I'll eat some eggs.
Or eggs.
But you've never. How come you never expanded and gone to dinner or anything? Just breakfast is just you're
I've
good
tried
at it.
a couple times.
Okay.
Yeah, and so one, I don't have a liquor license since I lost it out at the lake, and that's a whole nother podcast.
I don't know. I feel like we should.
No, I don't think so.
All right, we're
I'm still
gonna
not
talk
welcome
about
out there.
that.
Scratch Boathouse Bar and Grill, but it was a fun run.
Yeah.
I had 9 record. So I have the record at the Engine House. I have the record at the lake. P.O. Pears had it for 7 years, so I beat the record by 2 years.
Which record are we talking about?
That being out staying the longest,
Oh, okay.
longest staying power. I can do that in the restaurant business.
So, Roger, you are an entrepreneur at heart. Have there been other wild dreams that you want? You're telling us about hats that you want to make. And
Yes.
What?
Oh, here's what's next on the agenda. Thanks for asking, Joe.
Yeah. What's next?
I've known you for years. You've been here since it was the other place.
Yeah.
Anyway, where was I? Honduras, the Uchilla package. So we got a brand new website. Everybody check it out. It's enginehousecafeROG.com. We just launched it yesterday. Oh, and speaking of 15 years ago, tomorrow marks 15 years for me at the Engine House. So Uchilla. So I want to go and retire down there, but I have to have people to entertain. I don't know. It's just my thing.
I'm the same way. I hear you.
Well, you got headphones on. That's probably why.
My ears are cold. I don't know what to say.
That's a dad joke.
Utila Chilla. So I have two, not just one, but two properties in Honduras, two separate Bay Islands, one being the island of Utila. So here's your garden variety package. You come down for a week. You party balls on Utila, because that's where the party is, and there's clubs, and there's restaurants, and there's tuk-tuk drivers, so you don't have to drive anywhere. You walk everywhere. It's cool. I got a whole song I can do for it, but probably don't have enough time in this podcast. It's to the tune of Hotel California. So you start in Utila, and then you do about 3 days until you're done partying, and then we take a boat ride over to Cayos Cochinos, which is a very primitive, very remote, private set of keys. It's a marine preserve. No cars, no boats, no motor cars, not a single luxury like Robinson Crusoe. So it's very primitive. No air conditioning, no hot running water, but it is paradise. It's some of the best scuba diving on the planet. It is the second largest reef after what's the one in Australia? The Australian.
Oh, the Australian Bay Reef.
So
yeah.
this is whatever. It's the second largest reef. And it's, like I said, a marine preserve, so the coral is beautiful. You're not going to run into any other divers while you're there. I can guarantee that.
Well, I got to say, when you said the next step, I did not expect you to say you're selling
Excursion.
timeshares on islands. That's for sure.
So, sorry to surprise you.
How'd you find that to begin with?
Back in the 80s, 87 or 88, when I was 23 and better looking than this guy.
I believe it. You were younger than I was.
I think we're
How
going
old
to
are
need
you
to show
right now?
a
26.
side-by-side. What is next?
What's next for you besides this Honduras thing? What's
I
a
think that's
day
an
in the
end
life
game.
of Roger Pletcher
That's
look
a
like?
great question, because sometimes I wish I had a camera crew following me, but now I do have a dash cam, because I do Lyft driving now, so I get to entertain myself with my dash cam. I haven't figured out how to
Are you
extrapolate
doing like a
cabbie comedy
cabbie comedy?
channel.
Okay.
So that too. And I want to do, so back at the cafe, we're going to start opening up on Friday nights again. So we will do nights.
Okay.
And I'm going to start doing QR codes at both bars, Bob's and Arnold's. There's a shameless plug. Jason from JTech, you owe me some money. And then so they can order bar food, and I'll hand deliver it.
Okay.
And then also be open at the restaurant. But following, when we'll close at 8, we're going to do something called Friday Night Live. Friday Night Live. Just kind of like Saturday
Friday
Night
Night
Live,
Live.
but Friday
Okay.
instead.
What's live? Music? Comedians?
Go on. I'm looking for ideas.
No.
Okay.
But seriously,
this will
like,
be at the Engine House.
Yeah, and I'm thinking what I'll do is also do maybe a blip from my cabbie comedy. I already posted one on TikTok. So I have a couple TikToks. One is Mr. Rogers' Neighborhoods. Then I also have the local gringo, but that's more focused on the Honduras property. There's several really good videos on there. Check it out. The local.
So hold on.
It's the local gringo.
Okay. Well,
Are you saying
Roger,
local
for
or
the love of
loco?
God.
No, I wanted to do loco, but it's
crazy-
the local gringo.
And that's
But-
where you put your videos of your Uber drivers?
Not yet.
Or your Uber.
I did do the first one on there because the girls were like, they're college girls. I'm like, should I put it on the local gringo or should I start a separate one? They're like, just put it on anything and it's going to go viral.
And just get me out of this car.
I'm glad you went there, Joe, because I was going to spoil the surprise before y'all log on. That was the joke.
If you don't laugh, I don't let you out.
I can't say the company name, right? So I'm not going to. Anyway, I drive for one of the, you already said Uber, but it's not them. It's the other guys. Anyway.
Z-Trip.
No. Anyway, I used to drive for Happy Cab, but it cost $420 a week. And then you had to make that all back before you even got paid. And then you had to go in there on a Monday with some crabby old girls checking you in. Where's your credit cards? Where's your comps? Man, and then a bunch of cabbies smoking, and there's a cloud of smoke, and you're just like, this sucks. Did I make any money? Just let me know. With the new guys, when they came to town, I started driving for them from the get-go when it was still kind of illegal, and they were going through court battles. So there were very few drivers, and all the college kids were privy to it. So I was kicking butt.
You're very active in the Havelock scene.
Again, well, I wasn't for a while there when I left for Honduras, and I lost my head, and I went through PTSD, but I'm back.
Okay. So you are kind of like the mayor of Havelock, or the whatever you said.
No,
But
so right now they handed it off to Marty Wenzel at Wenzel's Collision, which is a block away from Havelock
Okay.
Avenue. So he's been the president ever since I resigned my title, because what we used to do is the Havelock Progressive Dinner. Perfect segue, thank you. And here, I was the new kid in town. Roger, why don't you be the HBA president? Oh, and by the way, come up with a new fundraiser because we no longer do the Havelock Street Dance, which used to make them $25,000 to $30,000 every year. They quit
And was a
doing-
lot of fun.
Yeah, it was, and
never
that's how I
went to
I remember that's how I discovered Havelock. I didn't even know it existed. I did drive through it one time when I came to visit, and I drove through Havelock, and it was right around Thanksgiving, and it had the Christmas lights up, and I remember thinking, wow, what a cool little quaint town, never knowing that in the not too distant future I would be right in the middle of
Yeah.
it. Yeah, it was really cool. It was kind of premonition. So I already had a job lined up before we decided, and then we started raising daughters. And we're living on South Padre Island. And there's a bunch of creepy college guys hooting and hollering at teenage girls. And I'm like, not raising daughters on South Padre Island.
Okay, so tell us more about the taste of Havelock.
Oh, so instead of calling it the Taste of Havelock, it's the progressive. It's the holiday, Havelock Holiday Progressive Dinner. So it starts as such. I'm going to sell 50 tickets at a 4:30 seating, a 5, a 5:30, a 6, and a 6:30. They're going to be $50 a piece, but here's what you get. You check in. I really wanted to check in at Milkweeds, but she's busy with the sound bath. So probably checking in at J-Tech. You'll get 2 drink tickets. You'll go to Bob's Tavern, have your first drink. And you'll go to the Vicarage and or the charging station for appetizers. And then from there, you would walk down to the Joyo, and Dwight will be serving hot apple cider. And we'll have a choir on stage singing Christmas carols. That's cool. And then you'll wander on down to the Engine House Cafe. Best breakfast in Lincoln, 10 years in a row. And then you'll have entrees there. And we'll go next door to the Antique Store. Beautiful place. They did the desserts last year. They made a killing on sales. They'll have dessert there. And all along the way, you might, apart from the drink tickets, some people might be serving cocktails. So then you go across the street. I think Salvage Warehouse is going to do coffee. After dinner drinks at Arnold's, down the street to Sports Fantastic, Kevin, my buddy Kevin Hammaker, and they'll have eggnog there. So it's a great time. You get to visit new business. Oh, I think the new insurance company is going to join in.
Okay, so let's move to your oh shit moments. Let's start with the bad oh shit.
I
Okay.
don't even want to guess.
I think we started
listen,
already.
As far as focus.
Uh-huh.
As far as Engine House, what is like a bad oh shit moment where you thought maybe you were gonna have to close or you were done or like this isn't working any?
COVID. And guess what? I'm stuck in Honduras running a dive resort into the ground. Have you heard this one? Did you hear
Nope.
about the guy from Lincoln, Nebraska that went down to Honduras to open a scuba diving resort? I heard he got in way over his head. That's a $60,000 joke. That's the best response I've got. Thanks. I lost $60,000 on that venture.
Oh, that is legit. Okay.
All the while thinking, so I'm stuck down there. I can't even
Yeah.
get a flight back, and I'm just hearing paraphrases of what's going on. No one knows what's going on. They're closing down restaurants left and right, and our zip code was one of the last. So I'm just hoping and praying and drinking myself into oblivion and to blackout. I'm just like, I'm going to go broke. So that was my oh shit moment, probably the biggest one. I thought I was going broke. I was losing everything, $60,000 in debt. And then finally they cut us down to goes only. And then we realized we can't even do it during the weekdays. So from going from $15,000 to $20,000 in sales a week down to $2,000 or $3,000, I had to close the resort with tears in my eyes and send all these poor Hondurans back to the mainland. We shut down. And we had to quarantine on this beautiful island in the middle of paradise. But it was the most stressful time in my
Yeah,
life.
because you literally have no idea what's
I
happening.
have no
here.
idea. Yeah, so I've not been back to that. I've been back to visit, but I haven't stayed a night on that island since that dreadful time. Because it did suck. I mean, here I was, surrounded in paradise. The most stress. I was seriously suicidal. And this is no joke. Yeah, so I've cleaned up my accents. And the other oh shit moment, I don't know if we want to go there.
Okay.
Well, the other oh shit moment's a positive one.
Yeah. So let's move to your good oh shit.
Like
I call-
working.
So, just as my bank account is about to go negative, I'm paying rent to Chris Kuhar, who formerly owned it, because he's still in the building. That check was just about to bounce before the first PPP fund infusion came in. So, I was in tears. I was calling in the States, and I was like, oh my God, this is the best thing I've ever heard. I mean, it's like after doom and gloom and suicidal thoughts,
Yeah.
the first PPP hit, just
it
as
did what it was supposed to do for you.
Yeah, it did. It exactly
you know?
did that. And then I got another PPP infusion. And then, what's his name came along? I can't remember his name. Neither can he.
Biden?
Biden, thank you. And he came up with the Restaurant Revitalization Fund, which I ended up getting more from that than the PPP. And the PPP funds saved my life, literally saved my restaurant. So many restaurants fell by the wayside. A lot of the corporate monsters because they couldn't adjust as fast. But Engine House Cafe survived and thrived. That was the big one. We got through it and walked away unscathed, and tomorrow's a brand new day.
So how would people find you? Not your TikTok.
Just wandering up and down the street in the Havelock.
So I mean, like, how would Engine House, or how would, if they want to buy tickets for the Progressive Dinner of Havelock Association?
Good question,
of
Dan.
Lincoln,
Glad
Nebraska.
you asked. GoDaddy would not give me my website back, enginehousecafe.com, so now it's enginehousecafe ROG.com. It was going to be, and then the email is enginehousecafe OG at Gmail, I think. OG at Gmail. Yeah, it makes good sense. Pretty soon, they're not available yet. We just launched the new website. The birthday's tomorrow. We're going to launch the Friday Night Live sometime in November after I get back from Honduras because I got a caretaker issue on Caros Cochinos. I'm looking for a caretaker that pays $1,000 a month. You get to live in paradise, but you're going to be pretty alone.
Think about it.
If you want to be alone with your thoughts, anybody out
Is there good internet service?
Yes.
So, okay.
At Eagle's Nest, the big, beautiful White House is just next door to my house. This is my favorite thing when we're coming around the bend. We're like, I go, see that big, beautiful White House up on the hill? And they're like, yeah?
Oh, my gosh.
That's not it. Okay, just to the right of that.
We get to look at that house.
Yeah. And just go, wow, they have air conditioning and hot running water. Hey, guys, can we come in?
Okay. All right. The final questions we have on the podcast, since we are in this great town of Lincoln, Nebraska, what are fun things you like to do recreationally? Places to go, people to places to eat? Any?
I like ping pong and hacky sack. That's why I'm trying to bring hacky sacks and fanny packs back. But I like to go out to eat at the Engine House Cafe for breakfast. I don't venture out much. I always say, you're going downtown? Yeah, downtown Havelock, bitches. So I'll go to Arnold's, I'll go to Isles, I'll go to Misty's. I just keep it in the hood. It's good being
Very
back
good.
in the hood.
Yep.
I'm going to start going to the dentist there. I go to the chiropractor there. I go to Russell's Supermarket. There's a lot of people that don't have driver's license. It has a good walking score. It's got everything but a pharmacy. It used to have a pharmacy. So if you got too many DUIs and your license has been suspended, you need to move to Havelock. You can get the best breakfast, the best pizza, the best steak. Yeah, why venture off anywhere else?
That's true.
That's the way to put it.
It's Mr. Rogers' neighborhood. It's a wonderful day on Havelock Avenue. So glad that you came here. I hope you are too. It'll be fine. We'll have a great time. Well, the really great thing about Havelock Avenue, there's 4 or 5 places you can get a brew. It'll be fine. We'll have a great time. Oh, there's so much more to Havelock than just a shortcut through. There's salons, bars, banks, shops, restaurants, professional businesses too. So you made it to Havelock, you must know the way. And now that you're here, you can eat, drink, and play, the clean version. Won't you be mine? Yes, you'll be mine. Come be my Havelock neighbor. Oh, please, please won't you be? Never mind, there's plenty Havelock neighbors. Tloom, tloom.
And on that note, thank you very much for being here.
My Pletcher.
Joke of the day. Right. Joke of the day.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Roger.
I'm going to part with this one from my buddy John Weber, a guy that I met. I needed to leave on a road trip by myself, and I had to get to Eminence, Missouri, at the Circle B campground, where my daughters and I would go 7 years in a row on Father's Day. Beautiful crystal clear waters, beautiful kayaking and canoeing. At Circle B Campground, we found the coolest campsite. I'm going to let this out to the public. Campsite number 5 at Circle B Campgrounds in Eminence, Missouri, which is, I told one person we used to go to, what's the one up Valentine? dirty old slow river.
Niobrara.
Yeah, Niobrara. And they go just another 30 minutes and you can get to, it's the Jack Forks and the Current River. So I went on my vision quest and I had to go clear my head, and I found it on this river. And I met a man named John Weber, crazy old coot. I knew it. I loved him the moment I saw him. He was checking in at the place, and he's like, got blue jean shorts on and an old straw cowboy hat and a canoe strapped on the back of his pickup truck. And he's like, ma'am, I'm supposed to check in for a float. And they're like, well, sir, do you know where you're floating? Hell no, I ain't the chief of this tribe. I'm just a follower. And so I'm just like, bro, what's your name? I got to meet you. Oh, I'm John Weber. I'm a poet. I go, what do you know it? I'm a poet too. He's like, oh yeah? What do you got? I go, rest in peace. It's the one I want to put on the back of the Dream Team shirts. Rest in peace, a tribute to John Lennon. Remember the dreamer. I'm sorry he's gone, but the dream that he had will continue on. It was all in the song that he loved to sing. You know the one about imagining. There is a little problem with this beautiful song. To imagine no heaven, some say must be wrong. But he was only expressing a thought in his mind. Are we not all created as one of a kind? He's not the only one. Let's all join the team and hope someday peace will be more than a dream. And then John Weber says, well, I got one too. I go, you go, bro. Well, fence post. Well, I'll have to do it in John Weber form. Well, I look down the fence post of my life. Some posts lean left, some posts lean right. There are times when them fence posts was straight, but mostly crooked was my fate. Well, I ain't saying crooked's bad. Hell, I've been straight and still been sad. That's first. Well, if you can, go mend that fence. Life's too short to make much sense. And if you can, go mend that fence. But if you can't, that's okay. Because tomorrow is a brand new day. John Weber, everybody. From the Book of John. So, cool old coot. Life-changing, crystal clear waters. I found my head, and not really, but like my daughter said, Dad, she said, recovery is like the stock. It's not linear. It's like the stock market. You're going to hit highs and lows. So that's all I got. Keep coming back. It works. Done?
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Thanks.